You check your ego at the door because your desire for growth and to impact a large community and a large amount of people is greater than yourself. The reason I give you permission to fail is because you're human and you will. And also because I don't want you to wait to get things perfect or we can't grow. I'm grateful for this whole shift in real estate because we don't learn until things break. I don't want people to say, oh, Laurie has the answers to everything. What I want people to say is, Laurie empowered me on how to be an independent thinker and solution-oriented human being.
Welcome back to the Reside Platform Podcast. I'm Nick McLean, and we got my buddy and co-founder, Suneet Agarwal, Mr. California, here with us. And we're super excited because we have a special guest, Laurie Reader, with us. Laurie, welcome.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Suneet.
Yes.
Excited to be here, you guys. Really excited.
And before we get going, this is going to be a really impactful podcast for us because we're going to dive into Laurie, who's a genius, a visionary, a founder, and an overall awesome entrepreneur in our industry. I mean, if you look at it, here's a little bit about Laurie. He's the CEO of Laurie Reader team in South Florida, over 26 years of experience, mentored with some of the very best in the industry, including Gary Keller, right? If you've heard of him. Yeah. In fact, you're right. She works closely with Gary Keller. And with that, she nurtures other leaders in the industry. She builds leaders throughout. She has an abundance mindset. She knows how to acknowledge people, make them feel amazing and inspired to do more. And throughout your career, Laurie, I'm reading this, your team served over 7,700 families.
Wow. 7,000 now? Holy.
7,700. Over 2.83 billion sold, closed business. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
I'll tell you guys, those are big numbers, but that was pure privilege, to be honest with you. You guys know when we're in sales, at least for us, we find about 50% of the time we're helping a family or an individual that's going through a really bad time of life. And the other half of the time, they're going through something exciting. So I know we all talk about these big numbers, but those were all human beings, and we had the privilege to be inside of their, a part of their journey.
Wow. Look at that perspective.
Super, super awesome perspective. And I think that's a testament to those type of numbers to be tied to the individual and just the, like, where do you stop? When is enough, Laurie? I mean, we're not going to go there, but that's amazing numbers. And you're just getting going. I mean, right now I'm reading your vision and commitments to reshape the real estate landscape, inspire professionals nationwide to set new standards and excellence. That's a vision.
Well, let me speak to that for 1 second. Because first of all, I still don't know what I'm doing sitting here, right? Been an agent for 8-9 years total. And I was a new agent, hearing about Laurie, hearing about one of your daughters who crushes it too, or maybe it's your niece. And I was an agent at a Keller office 7 years ago. And hearing those stories, like you, I don't know if I ever told you this, but you inspired the heck out of me. It was so motivational.
Thank you.
Yes. So like, I don't know, like I feel super honored just to be hanging out with you on a podcast. So it's really true. Like all the viewers and listeners, like check out all the content you can from Laurie. You will be inspired. You will feel good. And it's coming from a real place because look at those numbers. Sure, it's about a journey too for the consumer and 100%, but it also works in selling a ton of houses.
Yeah, absolutely, Suneet. So I love that you were inspired because look what you've done and look what you've built. So that means a lot to me.
Yeah, I think I saw your niece on Lab Coat Asians talking to Kristen, who was my mentor at the time, and I was, oh my God, this is possible. Yeah. So thank you for that. Yes.
Oh, Thank you.
So what are you most passionate about now at those levels, right? And you got to understand too, you're helping other people achieve those numbers. I don't think you're the one listing homes, buying homes. So you're helping other people. So how do you approach that guidance, leadership when it comes to real estate?
Yeah, I love that question.
How do you think about leadership? How do you think about development? How do you think about that?
So when anybody puts out that word leadership, right? I think we kind of use it very loosely. I feel like leadership equals responsibility, right? I don't take that lightly, whether it's a consumer that's trusting us, whether it's an agent that's joining our world, right? Our companies, our platforms. Look, you guys have this new amazing platform, and that requires leadership. And when people are joining, that means responsibility, right? You guys we're all making a promise to help people achieve their goals and help them get what they want. So for me, leadership is still about all these years in. I still, when I get up in the morning, I ask myself the question, why do the 120 people want to work for my company? Why would John Cheplack trust me to coach? Why would you guys invite me onto your podcast? And I take it really seriously. And it means that I have to continue to better myself, evolve, educate myself, sit in the right rooms. I have to take a lot of risks. I think that's the one thing people don't like doing, and leaders take a lot of risks. Leadership's a little bit lonely, so you have to find your people. But I don't know how to turn it off, I ask myself that, because Nick said, like, when is enough enough? And I don't know how you turn that off. It's, with all the different lanes of coaching and things there are to learn, there's really no specific tactical thing, I don't believe, for leadership. It's entrenching yourself in doing a lot of things that are likely uncomfortable, learning things you don't already know, taking a lot of risks, and investing in other humans, which to me all equals responsibility. And I don't think there's a lot of people seeking more responsibility in their lives, right? I think people want less and less and less. So I take it very seriously, and I ask myself, am I performing at a level where people would want to be in my world because they're trusting me to continue to raise that ceiling for whatever they want to accomplish, regardless of the space they are in my life? I take it very seriously.
I love that answer.
I don't throw that word around loosely, Suneet, right? Like, it's a responsibility. And when I ask people, what does leadership mean to you? I don't usually hear that. So it's having no ego. You have to be willing to fail a lot and be excited about failing. So I think people who want to entrench themselves into leadership because they want to help impact a lot of lives, you get really comfortable with all the things that I just mentioned, and you win.
Wow, I love that. Laurie, this is a completely selfish question right now. So what are some ways that you found have worked for you to improve your leadership skills?
Lots of different things, Suneet, and particularly in the last 10 to 14 years, say 10 to 15 years, a little bit later in my career, because I was that super high producing real estate agent. By the way, I still miss sitting in living rooms and taking listings, but I haven't done it in about 5 years. But when I found myself very organically progressing from real estate agent to leader, to somebody who's going to build now a company that was going to impact other people besides myself. And I didn't have the coaching, training, education for any of that. And I think it happens to a lot of us, right? We have these big real estate teams. We're doing really well, lots of units. And now it's time to progress. But I mean, I wasn't naturally built for that. And the steps that I took were I got great coaches. I invested in myself, and I hired great coaches. I put myself inside of masterminds and different rooms where I would enter the room. I'll tell you, the first time I entered Jet Black's room, I was like, I don't belong here. I'm not ready for this. I don't belong here. And that's when I knew I belonged, is because I felt super uncomfortable. So I would attend masterminds, hire coaches. I can't count the books I've read. And when I read a book, I pass it on to somebody else when I'm done with it. And just putting myself in lots of situations that were super uncomfortable. And you know what? I'm still learning, you guys, right? But I knew that my foundational piece for powerful leadership was going to be check your ego at the door, be willing to fail repeatedly, invest in your growth, right? I mean, that's time and money. A lot of people don't want to do that, but it's imperative because you owe that to the people you're going to lead and impact. And one of the other things that's really helped me a lot with leadership is making sure that I remain very open to feedback and what I call constructive criticism, right? I want to be told, hey, Laurie, okay, you did okay here, but you really need to work harder on this, right? So I got really good at asking people, hey, would you mind giving me feedback on what just occurred? It didn't matter who it was. It could be an agent, a coach, a consumer. It wouldn't matter. I'll likely ask you guys, hey, give me some feedback. How can I improve, right? Because that is how you improve. And I think every one of us, including you guys, everyone could help me get better.
Love that.
And that's what I see.
What that answer is awesome, right? And so valid and so many ways. A question that came to me, once again, from a selfish perspective, is what have you found works the best to check your ego out the door as a leader?
Sure. Well, you know what? I never saw myself as someone who had ego, to be honest with you, which is, I still don't feel like I have ego, but I guess we all do. Either way, I don't find your question selfish. I always feel in a room, whether it's 3 people or 300, if you're thinking it, likely the rest of the people are also wanting to hear that information. So,
love that.
Yeah, I mean, your ego is, always coming from abundance, and not. I choose not to live in fear, right? And always coming from abundance, which means that if I asked you for feedback and you gave it to me, I would appreciate it rather than get insulted by it. I'm not perfect. I'm a human, right? And I look at progress, not perfection. And I coach to that. And I tell people, you know what? If today we make a little bit of progress, we're doing great. We're not perfect beings. That's just not how we're built, right? I know, Nick, you were like this power cyclist. I love watching your whole journey with that. And I'm sure from an athletic standpoint, Nick just wants to get a little better each day. It's not going to be perfect. So it's just about progress. But yeah, you check your ego at the door because your desire for growth and to impact a large community and a large amount of people is greater than yourself. Now, I don't know if a lot of people can get there, but if you want to have incredible success in your life, you need to tiptoe into that.
There's something to point out too, Suneet. I think you're picking up on it. I'm listening to Laurie here about leadership, and it's not about knowing all the answers. She said, I heard it, I'm seeking out questions I don't have the answer for in leadership. I'm getting into rooms that make me uncomfortable. And she's proactively asking for feedback to get better. And I think that's a really intrinsic way of growing.
I try, Nick, to leave the emotions at the door as much as I can, because that can really trip you up, right? If you get caught up in the emotional piece, it's a practice, right? When you first start asking for people for feedback and to help you improve, it it might hurt a little bit.
It doesn't come naturally, right?
No,
To everyone. Yeah.
no, like,
Well,
tell me how I suck. I mean,
something I learned from John Sheplack too, is like he gets off stage and he'll come up to me and say, "Dude, how'd that go?"
yeah,
I would say, "Dude, John, like, really?" He's all, "Yeah, man, I'm asking because I care and I
Yeah.
want to do good. So I didn't do good. I trust you as my friend to let me know, like, how." And that really, like, I just did a training for our Reside teams about 30 minutes ago. And as soon as this is done, I'm going to call all the team leaders and see how I did, because
Yeah.
that shows that you care about self-improvement and about having an impact, right? Like,
and give them permission to be honest. Because
Yes.
nothing irks me more than if I said, "Hey, Nick, like, hey, how did I do? I just did this." And Nick's like, "Oh, Laura, you're great." Like, I can't improve at the great.
Or
I
good.
can't. And so I give people permission. I say to my agent or my COO, "Hey, we just did a one-on-one. Like, I would love some honest feedback. And you can tell me where I was good, but I'm looking for improvement." So you have to give the same way we give people in our world permission to fail, which is so important to me. Like, if you work for me or if you work on my team or you're in my world, my husband, my kids, like, you all have permission to fail. You have to give people that permission. The same way, if you want people to give you honest feedback, how else can I get better? Right? You have to give them permission to be honest with you.
permission to fail. That's so interesting.
Oh, it's big. It's big.
How do you give an employee of your organization permission to fail?
So I'll give you just a quick example. I just hired a new executive assistant, and she's only been with us for about 90 days. And I didn't hire her. My staff hired her. And when in our very first meeting, which I would say to every single employee, coaching client, agent, I don't care who you are, you guys, hey, I just want you to know, look, I'm really excited about our journey together. It's not going to be perfect. And I'm giving you permission right now to go forward, barrel forward, knowing you're going to fail at certain points. But don't wait to get it perfect for us to move forward. That's why everyone gets stuck. They're so afraid to mess it up, right? But you have to give people permission to fail. If you don't, they get stuck and they don't move forward.
Yes, that's so true. And people are so afraid of messing up. And I think part of that, I learned this on a call I was on yesterday, that they really don't want to look dumb in your eyes.
Mm-mm.
They don't want to let you. They don't want to let the leader down.
Right.
They also don't want to look dumb. It's fear of looking dumb.
She said to me, and she came out of a couple really high-powered jobs as an EA, executive assistant. And she said, I've never, ever had a boss tell me, hey, give me permission to fail. And I said, the reason I give you permission to fail is because you're human and you will. And also because I don't want you to wait to get things perfect or we can't grow. Right? It's kind of like an agent who wants to get out in the field, but they want to spend 5 months trying to figure out how to do it. And then they get out in the field, it's completely different. So I think we all learn by messing up, believe it or not. We don't want to go to the doctor and have them practice on us. I think that's why they do like 8 years of medical school, so they can practice on people without a heartbeat, right? But this is a different world. So giving people permission to fail is very important to me.
I love this topic actually, because when you give people permission to fail, you look at what happens when you don't give them permission to fail.
I know.
When they make a mistake, they're going to hide it from you.
Or
And when you give them permission, if you give them permission to make a mistake, they're going to go, Laurie, I think I messed up.
Yep.
What should I do?
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. We're going to fix it. We're going to go forward. But the biggest thing I see is when we don't give people permission to fail, is that they will just slow down. They'll avoid what needs to be done. They're scared to do it, and they'll wait, which holds us back.
So the cheating. This is the same thing on this same concept. Probably, I want to get your thought on this, Laurie. Does this same concept apply to agents and lead conversion?
Yes, right. It 110%. We have a large pool of newer agents, They're so scared to call people. I tell them the only way to get over that fear, because they're afraid they'll mess up and they won't say the right thing.
Or know the right answer.
Exactly. So we just say to them, it's time on the task. Just dive in, make the calls, get comfortable, and prepare to mess this up. Right? And, easy. If you're on calls and you mess things up, you just start asking questions.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody has a question and you don't know the answer, you just ask a question. So, it definitely applies to everybody. I mean, none of us are perfect. None of us.
I think too, when people come to me as a broker owner, and I want to get your feedback, Suneet and Laurie, on this, when they come to me with like, I messed up, or I have a challenge, or I have a question, I don't have all the answers. That gives me feedback. That's feedback for my training. Right. That shows me that when you mess up, that shows me the holes in my process.
Right.
Maybe
now that's leadership, right? What you just described. So when somebody comes to you that something's not working, you ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What system could I have implemented? How could I have coached you? That is leadership.
Extreme ownership for all the outcomes. Now, the only thing I have to say to that, Nick, is for agents, yes. For employees, I think I messed up. When somebody comes to me with something like that, I want them to come to me with several proposed solutions as well. Right? Don't just come to me with an issue. Come to me with an issue with 3 different paths that we could go on. I was hearing a story yesterday from Perry Belcher, one of my coaches, and there was some general in World War II, and he said that they would need to get the troops from one place to another place, and they would either need to build a bridge or would need to take a helicopter or do whatever. So every time that he needed to move these troops from one side of whatever to another, he would tell 3 different groups of engineers, I need this equipment, these troops over here in 2 weeks. Well, do you want me to build a bridge? Well, do you want me to take a helicopter? Well, do you want me to take a boat? No. I want these troops and this equipment to be here in 3 weeks. And he would hire, or 2 weeks, whatever it was. So he would hire 3 different teams and tell them 3 different spots along whatever they needed to cross, right? One team would definitely do the best, and then you'd have that team train the other 2 for the next task. So that's the interesting way to look at it. This is the final solution that I need. However you get there, figure it out. Yeah. Right? So,
Laurie, how do you handle, I want to know, that's great, Suneet. I mean, I think
doesn't he have the best laugh, Nick?
So good.
You always say that.
His laugh just makes me laugh.
I love that story, because it's here's what I want, but I want you to come up with how to do it.
Right.
And then let's have more than one person do it and find out who can come up with the best solution and go from there. Laurie, how do you handle when someone comes to you with Gotta minutes? How do you handle Gotta minutes? And what should I use?
And to respond to what you were just saying, along with giving people permission to fail comes with empowering them to find solutions, right? All about empowering. I can't even imagine what my life would be like if everybody in our organization was coming to me looking for answers and solutions to things. I wouldn't have time to eat or breathe, or it wouldn't work, right? It's about empowering the people in your world, and that comes along with giving people permission to fail. So the Got a Minute situation is really under control in my life. I would say only in the past couple of years have I gotten that. And Nick, I want to tell you how I got there, and that had to do with training the people in my world who really didn't need me with their Got a Minute questions. They already knew the answers. You go through this period or calling you, texting you, and they would ask me questions, and I would respond saying something along the line, so what do you think you should do? Right? I took the time to train people to help them understand they already knew what to do. Right? I am not a Got a Minute person. I don't have time for Got a Minute. I'm also not going to, for every God a minute, I wasn't going to put it off on someone else. So it's about helping people self-discover that they have the answers. They just have to go and sometimes do the work and find the solution. I don't want to babysit 150 people. I want those 150 people, 200 people to be self-sufficient and know if you need something, go figure it out. Go find it out. So many people are not solution oriented. It's not natural for them. It's so much easier for me to text message someone and say, hey, help me do this. How do I do this? Rather than me going and figuring out that solution. But the God a minute thing is very much under control in my world.
That's key. I don't think people are picking up this. She said 150 people. Like, Suneet, you know how to scale. This is the key insight to scaling, is not being the genius with 1,000 followers and, giving the answers. It's like, well, what do you think? So yeah, how do you handle that?
I don't want people to say, oh, Laurie has the answers to everything. What I want people to say is, Laurie empowered me on how to be an independent thinker and solution-oriented human being.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a red flag if you start hearing this in your organization. Yeah, Laurie, you're so smart. Oh, Laurie, you're so smart. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. No.
What you just said, Laurie, for all the listeners and viewers, that's a writer downer. Like, write it down.
Downer. I've never heard that.
Like, write it down.
Yeah.
And look at that. How can you empower people to make their own solutions?
Yeah. And most leaders who are in a leadership role are thinking that they have to have the answers to everything and they have to be everything to everyone. But really, as leaders, if we're really married to leadership, isn't our job to help develop other people, help them realize their goals? It doesn't mean that you need to cradle them. It means that you need to empower them. Very different.
In my perspective of you and what you've accomplished, I think that's like one of your superpowers is empowering these people. Like, look at Camilla.
Right.
Oh, she's done it. Like, that's like.
She's a great example.
She's a great example, right? Why don't you tell everybody who's listening and viewers who Camilla is and her role in the organization?
Yeah, so Camilla came into our company about 8 years ago. She came in as someone who was in college, and she was assisting a couple of the lead agents with kind of like administrative work, a couple hours a day. And over a little bit of time, she started out as an admin for me, director of operations for me, and then grew into the COO role over the last 2 years. I mean, for all intents and purposes, she runs the whole organization. And if I could squeeze her into that CEO box soon, I'm going to. She's amazing. She teaches me every day. I learn so much from her. And yeah, we're very much in alignment with the reality of people who are coming into our space and our world. They're not looking to be, like I said, cradled or mothered. What they want is for you to help them discover what their powers are, what their superpowers are, and how they can grow anything they want. The longer you cradle them, the longer they're held back.
I think that's great.
It's not easy, Suneet, right? Because it's a lot easier for me just to go, hey, do this or look this up or go here. I mean, it's so much easier to give the answers. Kind of like your children, right? The kids come to you, and I mean, my kids are grown, but when they would come to me with questions, I'd be like, okay, like, what do you think you should do? How can you handle that? Otherwise, I'd still be doing it for them today.
You were able to like nurture her from a young person into getting into this role.
Empower her.
Yes, it's huge, huge.
How have you been able to empower her? Give us some tactical takeaways that you can take and nurture somebody, empower somebody to grow.
Okay, so the way that I empowered her and gave her permission to go and fail and go win, as we started to progress, Nick, and I realized that I would come out of production and really wanted to grow a big community and a big environment for people to come and build whatever they wanted. I had a lot of conversations with her around what my vision was. I mean, I'm clearly the visionary. I'm clearly not the integrator. So for those who want growth, I think you need a really powerful integrator and a really powerful visionary, and it works really well together. And we hours and hours and weeks and months and years of conversation around How are we going to build this empire? So the first thing we started doing, it's been now about 5 years, maybe 5.5. I don't attend any mastermind, any training, any coaching other than my private coach without Camilla. Right? I realized I was going to these, we'd go to one of John's masterminds and I'd be sitting in the room and I'd be like, okay, I mean, what am I doing here without my integrator? So she would attend everything with me. We'd mastermind around it, brainstorm around it. I have entrenched her in her own coaching, education, and just a lot. You have to spend a lot of time with somebody who's an integrator that you would eventually like them to take over your company if that's your exit strategy in terms of running the company. So a lot of time, money, effort, and a lot of heart has gone into us developing the relationship that we have and being in that role. I mean, John's been coaching her for the last 5 years, along with me. Now he predominantly coaches her, and once in a while I jump on if I need him. And you'll never see me, Suneet or Nick, at an event without her. So the other thing I've done, which I don't see a lot of leaders doing, but now I'm starting to see it pan off on other people, you'll see that we do a lot of speaking engagements. We speak at John's events, Follow Up Boss, Inman. I mean, I've about so many different places. You see that I'm putting her into the speaking engagements, right? Because I want her, it's really important to me. I mean, there's the ego thing, Nick, right? A lot of people do not check that ego.
Yeah, especially with those speaking engagements. That's big, Laurie. That's big.
It's huge. You know, last year at Follow Up Boss, my daughter was having a baby, so I couldn't go, and they wanted us to speak. And I said, Camilla, you know what? You got this. Like, you have so much value. I get goosebumps. You can inspire and you can really help people move their businesses forward. She spoke on the FUB stage alone. This year, we're going to do it together. She's spoken at John's events. This year, she's speaking at John's event again alone. Last year, we did it together. So if you really want to grow people, you really got to be cool with stepping out and stepping aside. Again, you don't see a lot of people doing that.
Why? Okay. I get it. A lot of times the leader becomes the bottleneck because you're getting all this amazing information, amazing experiences outside of your marketplace, outside of your industry, and then you have to go deliver it, and it doesn't translate the same. So you're letting them into the experience. Why would someone not do that? Is there insecurity that they're going to start their own team, or ever worried someone's going to go take everything you know and
steal it?
Yeah.
Honestly, if we could teach one thing to people who want to step into leadership, I'm so passionate about it. You've got to have a mindset of abundance. You cannot live in fear that someone's going to take your business. They're going to take your information. I mean, really? What are you going to take? There is nothing to take. So if you have an abundance mindset and you have very big visions, you've got to invest in other people. I mean, she's running our company. And that's from 5 to 6 years of she and I going to every mastermind, me hiring coaches. I mean, the education that we've acquired in the last 5 years it's impressive. Just going to tell you guys that. And that was a very purposeful investment in our time and in our money and in our relationship. And I don't know what her, I know that we know right now what her intention is, but life could come a different way and that could change. You have to be okay with that, because otherwise you're living in fear of loss and you're not living with this abundance mindset. I mean, I honestly think it's irresponsible for leaders who actually have people who are really running their company and they're really stepping up and they want growth. Like, they should be putting them up there.
That's you went right back to responsibility and went, okay, what I operate in responsibility and abundance. The opposite of responsibility is what's irresponsible. That's, you guys pick up on that. She said, it's irresponsible for me not to do this.
Right. I think that it's ego. People want, to be at the front of the class, sit in the front row. Like, to me, put me in the way back, put her in the front. And now it's not just Camilla. We have a really good sized leadership staff. And now we take all of them to the events. We try to put them up on the stages. We try to send them to more coaching. And, imagine that you have like a leadership squad of 5 people that can build a billion-dollar company.
And let me guess.
Is that what we want?
Yeah, and let me guess, Camilla.
Camilla.
She's modeling you on how to be a leader. So now
100%.
she's probably doing the same thing with other people in the organization.
100%. She's not only modeling me, but she brings her own superpowers, and there are a lot of them. So yes, but again, Nick, also, I think where growth and leadership, it's not immediate gratification. Like, you don't win overnight. You know, you have to say, Gary Keller has a saying that has changed my life 15 years ago. He would tell people in an audience that were brand new to real estate or as successful as you guys, and he would say to you, regardless of where you are right this minute, in 5 years, you can be anywhere. You could accomplish anything you literally set out to. So if we could maybe expand our mindset around time frame for success, I think, because 5 years, it goes like this. I mean, time just moves so fast. So it's not about instant gratification. It's not like winning right now today. It's invested.
Well, that's something that I heard too from Hormozy, is that if you were God, and if you wanted to make people successful or wealthy, you would want them to have certain skills in order to deserve that success or wealth. And one of the main skills would be patience. Right. And dude, is that
a lot of people with patience?
Right. But I mean, we all know that if you do the consistent activities, everything will work on some kind of time horizon.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of the consistency and the patience around that. So
do you guys know how many times in a month I get a call or a text message from someone who's like, hey, I have it's usually around the sense of I really want to build a team. I want to build it fast. I want to get to 100 agents. I want to do it quickly. I got a lot of money. I can buy a lot of leads, and my next question after they go on about how great they are and what they want to build, I'm like, that's great. I love that. What are my simple question? Just tell me and write it down. Why would someone want to work for you? What are you offering to them? Do you know how many people can't answer that question? Tell me why, Laurie Reader, somebody wants to go work for your company. So people don't want to take the time to grow their leadership skills, to grow the community that they want people to join. They want to just pop, go buy 1 billion leads, and they think they're going to corral some realtors that are going to make them money. I mean, you guys, if that were the case, wouldn't we all just have done? I mean, that's easy. So, it's just really interesting. Always ask yourself the question, why would people want to come work for blank company, meaning you?
Now, why would they flip it on you? Why would they come join you?
I mean, Nick, that's really profound, right? So I think if you were to come and want to be a part of our company, you would want to understand what are our core values and what do we stand for at the core of who we are. Is there any limit on my growth here? Is there growth opportunity? Do I align with you and your vision? That's personal, right? Of who I am and why people would want to join my company. I mean, I'm very, very passionate, like it, love it, don't like it, whatever you want to say. I love to participate in my community. I want to give back. I know it's a little weird when people hear it. I'm like, but the more money I make, the more I can give. The more money I make, the more I can impact other people. So that matters to me. But to others, it might not matter. They may say, well, look, I'm not aligned with that. I'm looking for something different, and that's okay. But be clear about why somebody wants to be with you.
That's a much different value proposition to join a company than I got leads.
I have all that.
More sales.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
I mean, I have all of that. That stuff is a given. I think we all have all of that, right? Yeah, I know for a fact if I join your company, I'm going to have a great experience. You're going to coach me. You're going to train me. I'm going to sell a ton of houses. I'm going to be proud to work for you. But I also have to align with who you are and what you stand for.
First.
Because
I've heard this from team leaders building a team, right? 1 agent to 20 agents. And they're like, well, I don't really want to hire more because I don't think I have enough leads for them yet. I'm worried I can't support them. what would you say to that person that's like, I'm worried, I can't bring on more agents, I can't support them. What am I going to give them? And they're thinking leads, right?
Right. What you're going to give them is a platform and an environment and you're going to empower them to grow their business. It's not just about our leads. In our company, I'm glad to give you leads, but really you're here to grow your business and your brand and to accomplish your goals, not my goals. I can give you all of the transaction management, the marketing, the leads, and what have you, but it's about your business. So I hear that all the time. I don't have enough leads to give somebody. Okay, well, if leads are your value proposition, then I need to talk to them, right? Because leads are on a value proposition. Leads are our product that we're selling to realtors. That's all leads are. They are not value proposition. So that's just a misnomer, right? That's why people say, I have all this money. I ask them, well, why would they want to come work for you? I'm like, go figure that out and then call me back. I'll help you build a team. But first I need to know how we're going to hire people, right? Why will they show up? Why will they come work for you? It's not going to be just for leads.
Yeah, because if it's about, leads is a given. What if the leads aren't working for them for whatever reason? Now they're going to call those leads bad leads.
Yep.
That's your value proposition. So
right.
That means, therefore, you're a bad company.
I really believe that as our industry is evolving and changing, with that all of us, including you guys, we're going to start to see these leads. I hate the word lead because they're human beings, but we'll call them leads. That these leads are just a service or a product that we offer to the agent on the team, right? We want to help them build their own business, but maybe they need some of our business, right? So we're going to sell you this product, meaning you're going to pay a commission, you're going to pay a split for it, which is going to look different than your business split. So, the worst reason to hire someone or to join a team is because someone's going to give you leads. I think it needs to be one of the reasons.
Yeah, sure.
It can be one of the reasons.
Yes. Not about
Yes.
Especially if you have a unique lead source or an abundance of quality lead source. Yeah, promote it and bring them in. But before you hire them, I'm sure Laurie's like, okay, you came here for leads, but let's make sure we're a good fit first.
Of course.
The vision and what you want to accomplish.
Yes. I mean, so you guys, I have, which maybe you both do as well. So I have the Zillow Seller Flex program, right? That's where a seller, we get listing leads and we get a lot of them. I mean, the flow is a lot. And we will, when we're looking to hire, we will use that as something. Hey, you guys, we have listing leads. Come and check out our brand. But we always dive deep into what matters to them and what do our core values align with who they are. And, I think it is very common for team leaders and people growing teams to think that leads are the reason people will join you. But like you just said, what if the leads suck?
Or they think they suck, then they're going to the company.
Right. What if they think they suck is what I meant. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Really. So you're talking about the real estate industry. You're a visionary. You know Gary Keller.
I do. He's a personal coach.
You know John and Suneet, us, right?
Coach.
Where do you think the trend is? What's happening in the industry? Where are teams going?
Yes.
I think we are evolving, you guys. I think things are changing. I would say to you that we are working really hard on making some changes and I call it just like a little bit of an evolution where we realize it's becoming far more important for the agent's brand to be out front than necessarily Laurie Reader's brand, right? More about marketing them than it is about marketing me. We know that the consumer wants that tight relationship with their agent. Now, I've been a team for so many years and it's always been about me. Me. My name here, my face there, all about Laurie. And we're finding that a lot of agents that we are polling and interviewing and surveying are like, look, we really want to work with you. We love what you stand for. We love your community, but we really want to build our brand.
Yeah.
We need to be conscious of that as leaders. Check your ego at the door. Let's help other people win I think, the industry is going to be tough here for the next maybe 16 months or so, somewhere between 4 months and 18 months. In our area, transactions are down by 50%.
That's real.
It's really low, right? We have low inventory, and I'm grateful for this whole shift in real estate because we don't learn until things break, right? And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of our stuff is breaking and we're diving deep and we're finding solutions and we're spending hours on leaning and stepping towards the future with better solutions.
Yes.
And I will tell you, having Nick in my life and you in my life and John, and you mentioned Gary Keller and the whole ecosystem of leaders that I have the blessed and good fortune to have I would be stuck without all of these people. I'm on the phone, I'm text messaging, I am talking to, you name it, Dan Beer, Parker, Brittany. I mean, the list goes on and it's nonstop. And we need each other. And again, like, I have no ego. I'm not afraid to call Suneet and say, listen, I'm drowning. Help me. I need help right now. I'm not afraid. So I believe that great things are on the horizon. I believe that the industry is going to evolve, and it is already evolving for the better. For the better. I love this industry.
One final question from me before we wrap it up. Is Gary Keller's guitar collection amazing?
I cannot tell you, like, I'm not a guitar person, but whoa. I mean, you guys know he plays guitar.
Yeah, I know. And I've seen like pictures of it. And I saw like pictures of his office and it's full of like all these sick like guitars. I need to ask somebody. You're the only person I know.
It's super real. Yeah, he's a rock and roller, man. He's super passionate about that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Nick, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, Laurie, I mean, I just want to acknowledge you for being the superpower of acknowledgers. You make everyone feel acknowledged, special,
yes,
important, empowered, and makes me want to go out and do more and impact more people.
Thank you,
and hearing your thoughts on leadership is inspiring to me. So thank you for joining us.
If our viewers or listeners wants to talk to you about sending you a referral to sell in your market, how should they reach out to you?
Just send up a flare, whatever you need to do. You can just send it to Laurie Reader. I'm on Instagram.
And you'll be speaking at FubCon, right?
Yes, with Camilla.
Yeah. So I will see you there. And to all our viewers and listeners, like, make sure you check out Laurie Reader, like, inspiring, big business, super inspiring to me and Nick. So take some time and learn more stuff about her because you'll be inspired as well.
You guys are awesome.
And you're awesome.
So am I going to see you both in Tahoe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be in Tahoe.
It's an hour and a half away from my house. Like, I have to go.
That's not fair. Wait, my car or my plane?
Car, yeah.
Oh, even better. That's awesome.
That's where my wife always comes to. She's like, "What? We're staying in Tahoe at my favorite place. I'm coming."
Yeah, South Florida people. It's a bit of a trek. It's so beautiful there.
Yeah, I also heard you say this too, and over your career is getting in the right rooms, finding the rooms, finding the masterminds.
Oh yeah.
And Tahoe has been pivotal for all of us.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Right?
Like, you just think about like the relationships you make. I mean, forget the fact that you leave with so much content, so much information, all these things that now you have to consider how you're going to fit them into your business, but just the relationships and just the privilege to be in that room. And, John created that community, and it started like really tiny. Cause I remember in the beginning it was just like, 5 tables, I'm so grateful for that community and for others because, like, I can't do this by myself. Like, I need help. No. I need a lot of help. So,
and like you said, leadership is lonely, and being in that environment is people on the same journey as you, maybe in different steps of the journey, different parts of the journey, but it's really good. Well, Laurie, thank you so much for being on.
It's blowing you both a kiss and saying thank you. I love this. I'm so proud of everything you guys are doing. You're really awesome.
Thank you. And to all our viewers and listeners, if you found value out of this episode, which I know I did, make sure to share it with somebody else who is going along the same kind of entrepreneurial journey or real estate journey. I'm sure that they'll appreciate you thinking of them and sending them some fire content like today. And besides that, we'll see you in the next episode of the Reside Podcast.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.